all one big joke. The trial of Donald Trump. Yes, the trial of Donald Trump. Everyone's worried about, like, which trial is it this time? Okay. The point is, what we are witnessing here, the amount of desperation that the political establishment is trying to do to prevent Trump from running in this election cycle is pretty darn pathetic. Okay. Now, yes, Trump, he is not this shining bastion of truth and justice. He's just like any other person. But folks, I said this before and I'll say it again. There are far more devious, vile people currently serving in our Congress than Donald Trump. See, it's easy to vilify Trump because he puts his whole stuff out there for the whole world to see. But he's nothing new. We have seen people like Donald Trump before. And the only way to stop somebody like Donald Trump is to ignore them. Don't talk to them. Dismiss them. Keep them out of your mind. All right? The more you talk about them, the more you bring them up in your life, the more power they have over you. And sadly, this country is forever going to be stuck with, that's right, you guessed it, Trump derangement syndrome. So before we talk about Donald Trump, before we talk about people suffering from Trump derangement syndrome, let's at least get an idea about what's going on here with the Trump case that's happening in New York City, of all places. So let's go ahead and play this video and check it out.
Andy, what Michael's getting at is the burden of proof is an important one to remind everyone. It's on the prosecution, right? They need to prove beyond reasonable doubt that Donald Trump broke the law. And you think, after listening to all of this, you think they fell short? How?
They fell way short because let's start with reasonable doubt. What is reasonable doubt? And it's not simply a doubt based upon reason. Anytime a human being needs to make an important decision in life, if you have enough information, for example, doctor says you need open heart surgery. Doc, go ahead and schedule. I don't have a reasonable doubt. Conversely, if I say, I appreciate it, but I need a second opinion, I need more information, that is having a reasonable doubt. There is reasonable doubt all over this case. Where is Keith Schiller? Where is Alan Weisselberg? How did Michael Cohen get away with stealing $30,000? Hold a pity party for him. Made $4 million on this. Thought he'd be chief of staff. He's a fixer. If the plumber comes to my house to fix my leak, I could be home. That doesn't mean I know how he's doing it and what it's taking to be fixed. Stormy Daniels, let's hold a pity party for her. Why do we need to know whether or not the former president wore a condom or not? It's simply about, did the former president know that books, his records, false entries for legal fees? Michael Cohen was his lawyer. Did he intend to cover up the election or to protect his family? It's everywhere.
When Randy gets to whisper tones, I start getting concerned.
So, okay, with all of this happening, and let's just be clear here. In my personal opinion, these trials have been nothing but one big distraction. A part of me, just a small part of me, feels sorry for Trump for going through all this stuff because, let's face it, these trials must be extremely stressful and, one big distraction, right? And something that prevents him from being on the campaign trail, but it's also good PR. But because somebody like Trump knows how to use PR, the Democrats and the Hollywood establishment, the political establishment, the neoliberal elite are going to pull out everyone and anything to cause the fear to rise up because everyone's afraid of Donald Trump. Everyone's afraid of him, including actor Robert De Niro. Now, look, everyone's entitled to an opinion, okay? I get it. People are. All of you have different opinions and perspectives, as you should. I'll never sit here and say all of you need to agree with me, okay? That's not how it's ever going to happen. However, when you start letting someone live rent-free in your freaking head, you have succeeded in giving them all the power. And you got to separate the art from the artist. Because look, at the end of the day, Robert De Niro, talented artist. As for a person, dude, don't let Trump live in your head, man. You're better than that. But I guess people are afraid that we won't have a republic if he gets reelected in office. We don't have a republic. We don't have a representative democracy. We have an oligarchy. When you have organizations like AIPAC, Big Oil, the military-industrial complex buying off our politicians, you're not being represented. That's not a republic. That's not a democracy. But oh no, it all starts with Trump. And by the way, again, before I play these videos, just remember, We've had sitting U.S. presidents order the extermination of Native American nations. Full-blown genocide. Sitting U.S. presidents. Not Trump, but before Trump. The articulate, wise, all-knowing presidents. The previous people who sat in the White House. We've had sitting presidents dismiss the rights of many of Americans, okay? We've had many sitting presidents act like tyrants. But somehow Trump is brand spanking new. No, he ain't. And if anything, in comparison to his predecessors, he's mediocre. Why are you wearing a mask? Everyone else is not wearing a mask. He's wearing a mask. It's just, man, 2020 really, really shook things up. You know, by the way, that 2020 was the year of the rat. I know. It was Trey the whole time. So let's hear his fantastic speech.
Thank you.
Now, obviously, the volume's a little bit low on this, so when I clip this video, I will be raising up the volume. So apologies to people watching this live right now.
I mean, this is really, even these people over here are it's kind of crazy. It's really crazy. And this thing, Donald Trump has created this. He should be telling them not to do this. But he's just, he wants to sow total, he wants to sow total chaos, which he's succeeding in some areas and places to do. Anyway, beside all that, this is my neighborhood, downtown New York City. I grew up here and feel at home in these streets. I feel comfortable.
The world has changed, Mr. De Niro. And unfortunately, people like him are stuck with this mindset that Trump is this end-all, be-all threat. He is not the end-all, be-all threat, okay? I could have my criticisms of Donald Trump. Hell, I could have my criticism of everybody. But these trials have been pointless. From Stormy Daniels to what's happening in Georgia, to even what's right now what's happening in New York City. It's all distraction because it tells me that Democrats are afraid. They know they can't debate Trump. Biden is too senile. I've played previous videos on this show showing Biden's mental freaking decline. And I'm not the only one that's talking about it. There are so many other independent media outlets, and yes, even mainstream media outlets talking about it. I like to say that Hard Lens Media is one of the dauntless few that has been the first to do it alongside the Jimmy Dore Show or RBN or Due Dissidents, right? I think it's important for us to remember this, though. And it's very important for us to understand. I could be critical of somebody, but also at the same time to see where their perspective and point of view is at. But yet De Niro saying that this is it. This election, it's over. Our democracy has been sold a long time ago. I recommend you listen to Jesse Jett.
Under Trump, this kind of government will perish from the earth. I don't mean to scare you. No, wait, maybe I do mean to scare you. If Trump returns to the White House, you can kiss these freedoms goodbye that we all take for granted. And elections, forget about it. That's over. That's done. If he gets in, I can tell you right now, he will never leave. He will never leave. You know that. He will never leave. What does that mean? Is that the country we want to live in? Do we want him running this country and saying, I'm not leaving, I'm dictator for life? And that's why I've joined the Biden-Harris campaign, because the only way to preserve our freedoms and hold on to our humanity is to vote for Joe Biden for president. Really. We don't have a choice.
Yes, we do have a choice. And I just want to pause here for a second. We do have a choice. You have a choice to think critically for yourself. You have a choice to actually push forward. You actually have a choice to not let this election cycle rule over you. And I understand right now, a lot of things are hypercharged. Everyone's emotional. Everyone's right now angry. We're all right now on edge. We're all on edge. And I get it. But when we let politics control our lives, and look, doing a political show like this, sometimes it's tough doing it, right? But you got to learn to step outside, unplug yourself from all the social media, and realize that the world isn't all black and white like how we see it, especially on social media. You do have a choice. And I know what my choice is going to be. I'm going to vote independent third party. Biden and Trump do not represent my values. I do not trust the Republican Party, and I don't trust the Democratic Party. I view both parties as one and the same, and I will forever quote George Carlin, "It's one big club, and you will never be in it." Or you ain't in it. That's the direct quote, but he was right. The same people who donate to Democrats also donate to Republicans. Same people who donate to Republicans donate to Democrats. When you have so much money buying off both parties, what is the incentive for you, the voter, to actually waste your vote? And yes, you will be wasting your vote voting for a two-party system that only comes to you like an abusive partner saying, "Oh, please don't kick me out. Oh, please don't dismiss me. Oh, please, 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 please don't throw me away." That's what the Democratic Party and Republican Party has been reduced down to. Abusive partners. Because they're not going to represent us. They're only going to come to us as soon as we are about to leave them. As soon as they realize that we're better off without them. Now, each of you in my viewing audience, we got almost 300 people watching us live right now here on YouTube. You're going to have to make that your own choice. And as far as I'm concerned, your choice will be your choice. I am not going to endorse a single freaking candidate. To quote Indy, none of the above. I will be voting independent, but I'll really have to look at all the candidates there. Dare I say it, I just might leave the whole thing blank. Because I find this entire presidential election cycle not only mediocre, but completely uninspiring. And the candidates to themselves leave much to be desired for. I do want to pull up this article here. It's from The Hill, because people are afraid. They're holding their breath as, oh no, the political world braces for the Trump verdict. So I don't know what's going to happen with this verdict. Personally, on a personal note, I like to see him just walk away. Now, people might be saying, well, why would you want Trump to walk away? Why do you want him to get away with whatever the hell they're throwing? At this point, I've lost count and I've lost interest for what they're going to try and hit Trump with now. I don't care. And the reason why I don't care, and why any of you shouldn't care, because this doesn't affect our lives. Because no matter what, these politicians are still going to be enriching themselves. That's why we need to start supporting citizen ballot initiatives. I said battle initiatives, but yeah, citizen ballot initiatives. The looming verdict in former President Trump's hush money trial will send ripples through the 2024 presidential race and determine whether Trump will run for the White House as a convicted felon. They're all criminals. All these they're all criminals. I'm so sorry. Let me rip that Band-Aid off for you. Every single politician is a goddamn criminal, okay? How do you think they got into office in the first place? Rainbows and sunshines, a handshake and a high five? No. The defense and prosecution delivering closing arguments Tuesday. The jury will deliberate over 34 hours of falsifying business documents in connection to alleged hush money scheme involving corn actor or actress Stormy Daniels. Okay, so he banged a porn star. Oops. Oh, sorry, YouTube. But anyways, so I don't care. And he gave her whatever. The jury must reach a unanimous verdict on each count. Okay, and never forget that Stormy Daniels' previous lawyer. I'll never forget in 2020, so many people were saying, "Oh, that guy should run for president," and he was a scam artist too. Folks, man, we are surrounded by criminals. While only a portion of the public has followed the day-to-day developments of the trial that is likely to change once there's a verdict, I don't think outside of the base of both parties, a lot of people are paying attention to the trial until the verdict is read, said Ford O'Connell, a Republican strategist. The verdict will be historic. Either Trump will be campaigning for the White House as a convicted felon, giving Democrats fresh fodder. That's all they're going to get, fresh fodder. Who cares? Who cares? A possibility turning off independent voters, or he'll be acquitted as the first U.S. president to stand trial, giving a rallying cry for the rest of the campaign. No matter what happens, Trump will capitalize on the verdict, be it guilty or innocent, because the man knows how to manipulate television. He knows how to manipulate social media. He's a grandmaster at it. Okay, it is what it is. You think Biden could pull something off like this? You think AOC could? Bernie, that nutless wonder? No, none of them could. The political significance of the trial was on display Tuesday as the Biden and Trump campaigns held dual events outside the courthouse. The Biden campaign deployed actor Robert De Niro and retired law enforcement officers who were at the Capitol on January 6th, because it's forever the day when Caesar crossed the Rubicon. For a press conference, the bashed Trump as dangerous and a threat to, you guessed it, you know it, you love it, democracy. Because you got to love democracy. It was the first time the Biden campaign held an event around the trial. Communications Director Michael Taylor explained why it chose to do so, saying to the media, because you all are here. We want to remind the American people of the unique, present, and growing threat that Donald Trump poses to the American people and our democracy, he said. I don't care. Okay? I haven't seen democracy in a long time. You know what? Hey, hold on. Let's have actual democracy in this chat. Type 1 for Kit. We do have a democracy, and it must be cherished and protected. You're going to say that we don't have one? What's wrong with you, sir? Type 2, man, we don't have no democracy. Why are you going to ask such a silly question? Democracy. This man's asking a democratic vote in a country where there's no democracy. Because our politicians are bought. I wonder how many twos we'll get in the chat. I wonder. I most certainly have to wonder. So there you go. All right, folks, let's go ahead now and just push forward with the rest of this article, because it's starting to get quite pathetic. Wouldn't you agree? The Trump campaign aides assembled moments later to deride the Biden event as a sign of desperation. Why is Joe Biden now making this a campaign event after months of weaponizing the legal system against Trump? Because Joe Biden's numbers aren't in the tank, said senior Trump campaign advisor Jason Miller. And of course, hey, De Niro, listen, you say you're from New York City, right? Hey, I take a lot of pride in my city too, Chicago. But I'm willing to bet that, there's a lot of Chicagoans that disagree with me. But I'm not going to go in the middle of the street and start picking fights with people, right? And you're supposed to be representing the Biden-Harris campaign. Let me tell you an old tale that I've heard from all the old members of my family. May they rest in peace. You catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. And I'm pretty sure all of you heard that analogy too.
The Democrats, you are gangsters. You are gangsters. You're Fuck you.
You're a little punk. You're a softie. You're a nobody. Your movies suck. You're trash. You're trash. You're done. You're done after this guy, guys. You're done.
Now, let me be clear here, all right? You got to separate the art from the artist, okay? I'm pretty sure when many of us have been disappointed by some of the things that come or statements that are made by our favorite musician, actor, actress, anything like that, right? You got to separate it. You have to separate. And remember, a lot of these people in Hollywood, I think I'm going to quote Anthony Hopkins on this one. So a lot of these actors and actresses in Hollywood are dumb people. That's not the quote verbatim. I have to look for it. So probably after this segment, maybe during the break, I'll look it up. But folks, listen. In Hollywood, it's all make believe and pretend. Those action heroes, those gangsters, those fighters, those wise philosophers, the people that they pretend to be, they're not those people in real life. Okay. Separate the art from the artist, because everyone has an opinion. And while this isn't related to the court case, I want to pull up this. Hey, look, here's Dennis Quaid. Dennis Quaid played a lot of great roles, but here he is saying, hey, I'll vote for Trump.
What do you think of Trump?
I think I'm going to vote for him.
Really?
Yeah, in the next election. Yes, I am.
Are you ready for the blowback?
Well, yeah.
If inevitably comes
well,
with Trump?
I think this election, everybody's got to, I think they're going to take a side or whatever, but it just seems to me, it just makes sense. I was ready not to vote for Trump until I what I saw is more than politics. I see a weaponization of our justice system.
Yeah.
And a challenge to our Constitution, us as Americans, that I don't think we're going to have. And Trump is the most investigated person probably in the history of the world, and they haven't been able to really get him. People might call him an asshole, but he's my asshole.
That's a Dennis. Look, I love you and your movies, man. But it's hard to imagine that if you drop trout, I see Trump's face there. Okay, come on. But look, we don't turn these politicians, be it Biden or Trump, into these end-all, be-all figures. I wasn't excited about seeing this potential rematch. I even said that 4 years ago in 2020. I am not looking forward to a Trump-Biden rematch in 2024, and yet here we are. And I'm noticing that all these people who claim to be smart and intellectuals truly are not. And there's only one way we can look at anyone who's either a diehard Democratic voter and diehard Republican voter. You got to look them in the eye and say, hey, look, I love you, but you're not a serious person if you're letting these politicians control your lives and control who you could be friends with and who you could talk to. This two-party system is killing us. See, America's not divided, all right? We're just angry, scared, and in turn, you have these parasitic parties that capitalize on this fear, on this anger, and they're purposely dividing us. But at least we can still somewhat laugh. I want to give a huge shout out to Turncoat Don. Don, let's end this segment on a humorous note.
This is the time to stop him by voting him out once and for all. We don't want to wake up after the election saying, what, again? My God. What the hell have we done? We can't have that happen again. Yesterday was Memorial Day. It's a good time to reflect on how Americans fought and died so that we may enjoy the freedoms guaranteed to us by a democratic government. A government that, as President Lincoln said, of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Under Trump, this kind of government will perish from the earth. I don't mean to scare you. No, wait, maybe I do mean to scare you. If Trump returns to the White House, you can kiss these freedoms goodbye that we all take for granted. And elections, forget about it. That's over. That's done. If he gets in, I can tell you right now, he will never leave. He will never leave. You know that. He will never leave.
That's all I can do. That's all what any of us can do. We can just laugh at these people who are taking the sides of two people who are not really qualified for the highest office of the land. Biden and Trump are at the bottom of the barrel. I feel like both parties, and I think we all can agree with, both parties don't represent our values. Both parties capitalize on us hating each other. Both parties don't care how this election turns out because all what they're going to do is still keep on playing the same game. And that is, tell us what to do next, Mr. or Mrs. Donor, the corporate elite. You, the voter. See, there's a difference between the donor and the voter. See, the donor supersedes the voter because the donor has money and the voter only, is tricked into thinking that their vote matters. It's the truth.